What is going on, golf fans? Looks like we have a little thing up there on the screen. Okay, we'll get it off there. Welcome on into our round 2 live stream. It got ourselves some showdown action, some prize picks, prop stuff for tomorrow. Gonna make sure we can make it a profitable day for Friday, just like it was for today. Today was an absolute smash day for props. Made about $4 grand myself across both sites. And then over there for main slate, not an ideal start, right? We're not at the top of the GBPs after round 1, but still within shouting distance. And we'll have to see how it shakes out tomorrow morning. A lot of my guys going off early. Maybe we'll make a little bit of a push there too. So hopefully you guys had a solid start to the week. Our props for round 1 were just absolute fuego, just hits all over the place. Even some of our made cut props that we have rolling that still won't, finish over there till the next round are in pretty good standing after the first round too. So feeling pretty good about things. So welcome on in, everyone. We got Eros down there in chat who says he finally didn't mush us. So congrats to you. Yeah, pretty good day. Let's not push our luck there, Eros, though, right? Let's not gloat about it too much. What's going on, Self Gaming? We got Alex down there looking at Underdog already. Yeah, I saw that both boards were already posted already, and I have a few takes about the conditions for tomorrow. So we'll talk about it. But yeah, my take may throw a few of you guys off out there. I'll say that much. Over under on strokes, we'll talk about it. I don't want to spoil anything too early. It has to do with that. What's going on, Mark? You got killed today, Colin. That sucks. Well, ride on the train today, dude. If you were to over there on the Patreon, if you would have tailed the stuff from the slips, on the video and whatnot, you probably would have had a pretty good day. We're in the opposite direction, unfortunately. I took overs on guys like a Scotty and Rory. I got them at 68.5 strokes, which obviously they weren't even close to covering that. So yeah, unfortunate, Colin, but you're at a good place, right? You're here in this live stream and now you can get some good info. What's going on, Michael? It was carnage out there. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be, but it was. I thought it would just be a little bit difficult, right? And they went out there and just hacked it up today. BDR with the 8 on 18. Yeah, that was a thing today. We would have made even more money if he didn't do that because he was -2 at that point. He would have been under his strokes line. And then there on 18 coughed it up. So, hey, it doesn't hurt all that much when you have all the other props that we're hitting. So it works. Hit the like button, like the man said. Welcome on in, Michael. Love to see it. The Gala going off tomorrow. I'm not against it. He's actually a player that I have highlighted for the stream. So, yeah, we'll talk about it. Luke Prop Walker, you demand. That's a new one. Jose says, Luke, we're eating good tonight. I left the colorful. Wow, that's a absolute mouthful right there. Word out of there, but I love it. Absolutely. Let's run it back tomorrow, right, Jose? Maxwell says Riley under 74.5 strokes on FanDuel looks good at -140. I would agree with you, Max, especially when we go through the narrative that I want to spit out there for you. Congrats on the props. Yeah, thank you. I think we have a full board on both prop sites now. I don't know if we're going to get greens or fairways for the Open Championship, but definitely some of the prop stuff. Show you the prize picks. You mean for like the board and whatnot? Yeah, we can look at it. Why not, right? It looks decent. The prize picks board, it's very comparable. There are a few props that are like 0.5 strokes higher than what you have over there in Underdog. So like, I can't even think of one off the top of my head. Like these two top end guys, right? I know on Underdog, they were like 70.5. I know that Brooks was 70.5 strokes, right? He's 71.5 over here. So not a crazy discrepancy over there. And yeah, a few slips that were actually still sweating at this point, right? Obviously, Alex Noren had a pretty decent round. Hopefully he can hold on to making the cut. Then hopefully Billy Ho, Tom Hoagie, and Yannick Paul can miss it. And then we have a similar card down there too. So we're still sweating those. Those are still live sweats. Unfortunately, there's no holes played for you guys to go out there and tail that because I know Hoagie's like right there on the mark. And they could probably even do one for Horschel because he's pretty close to the cut line right now. Maybe they'll add it and you guys can sweat along with us if you don't already have those props in. So throw that out there. We have the whole stroke sport on there and whatnot. We'll touch on that later, right? Props are at the end of the live stream, but yeah, I was already taking a look at it. $2,200 profit day. Yeah, 34.5 for me. So $3,450 for me. Bought the wife's boyfriend a nice dinner. You love to see it. You love when the wife's boyfriend is getting taken care of, right? You made 1K. Thanks for the great calls. You love to see it. Appreciate it. Didn't know if you were fading. Looking forward to turning it around. Yeah, you should have been fading for round one. I know there were a few people talking about it, maybe playing a little bit easier. The sports books, right? The guys that are setting the lines that are building all the multi-million dollar casinos, right? Were very adamant that it was going to play difficult. So I went with them. Screw prize picks. Yeah, I don't play as much over there. Most of my action it is on Underdog at this point. That's for sure. Crown of Coke tonight. Nope, no Crown of Coke. Just super sleepy. So don't really feel like drinking. And I'm going to go to bed probably like a half an hour to 45 minutes after the stream ends. So probably not. Probably just some video games, hanging out with a few buddies, and hanging out with my cats. Maybe tomorrow we'll have Crown of Cokes. Your boy Rosner justified your love. Yeah, he went off this week. How about that, right? -4. So yeah, let's talk about the golf course, right? It played difficult pretty much no matter when you played, whether you're in the morning or the afternoon wave. A lot of your quote unquote ceiling rounds, right, did come in the AM, right? You had guys like Tommy Fleetwood. I think he went off relatively early, right? Shot -5. Lamp, I can't even say his name, but Christo, right? Jesus Christo out there went out there, shot -5. Rosner was an AM wave guy. I know Wyndham went out pretty early, right? Same thing with Alex Norton, I believe. But they had some PM guys there too, right? Griot was a relatively late tee time. Brian Harmon was a late tee time. I believe Otawegi was also a relatively late tee time. And I know Sharma, a few other guys down at like the -2, -3 range were also in the PM wave. So, when we split this and we see a one-stroke difference, right? I don't know if you have to fall in love with only playing the guys that were in that one-stroke advantage, but it certainly helped, right? From a percentage standpoint, right? Most of the guys were from that AM wave, but if you mixed in a few PM guys for Showdown today, you might have gotten away with it, right? So when we look at the weather, we take a look at the situation for tomorrow. Just understand that a weather edge doesn't mean you have to only play AM guys, right? Now, spoiler alert, I am only playing AM guys. That's what we're going to get to here in a second, but you don't have to, right? Just know that there is a counter argument to that, right? You saw that today, right? Guys like Rio are a perfect example. Obviously, Brian Harmon there too. If you look at the weather for Friday, though, it does look like the morning wave should play significantly easier than the afternoon. And the reason why I say that is that the wind gusts and the sustained winds both get significantly stronger. So if we take a look at the ECM model, this is the most reliable over there in Europe. You can see that trend over there in the GFS. It's the same kind of thing. I think the notable thing here is that it's maybe a little bit more flat. So that model, maybe not as big an edge. This model over here for the Medio Blue, you can see it's slightly lower winds in the morning than the afternoon. So that's another, very similar model to the ECM. This Icon, 25 mile an hour wind gusts. That seems pretty shitty, right? 15 mile an hour sustained winds. That's not going to be fun. This Arome, same thing, kind of kicks up as the day goes on. And then UKV, this one's always like way over projecting the wind, like for one reason or another. They have it as like 35 mile an hour wind gusts in the afternoon. So maybe this is the extreme outcome, right? Maybe this is like the worst case scenario kind of projection that they're doing. I couldn't tell you, right? I'm not a meteorologist, but I can tell you that all of them are pretty much telling us the same story, right? I'd say the only one that's maybe giving us a slightly different opinion would be this GFS model, where it looks a little bit more flat in terms of your sustained winds. Even if this were to be the case, right, you're going to have more receptive greens in the morning than the afternoon. And a few of the models are calling for some light rain in the morning. So that could be a little bit tricky. But I think if anything, right, it's going to soften up the greens, right? The net result of a light little rain shower coming through is probably a net positive for the field as opposed to the, slight negative that they're inflicted for like that 10-15 minute period where the rain's actually coming down, because rain helps you out with scoring, right? When you go out there, you're trying to score, you want receptive greens. It makes a course play slightly longer, but you're getting a huge advantage when it comes to your iron shots. So as long as it's not raining for like a 4-hour period, which at this point, if you go on the weather app, you type in Wirral, Wirral, England. That's the little town that this golf course is at. You'll see that they're not calling for a huge pocket of rain. It's little pockets of like 10-15 minute rainfall periods. So I'm pretty confident that the morning wave, right, with the lower winds is going to be the way to go tomorrow. But the reason why I went through the results from today, right, was to show you some of the counter examples, right? There was a stroke advantage today, which I think with the winds getting a little bit gnarlier tomorrow, it might be like a stroke and a half advantage this time around, right? That's why I am going after the morning wave guys. I don't know if you have to only play them though, right? So I'm going to do that, right? I'm going to be more aggressive about trying to take advantage of this, right? I'm only going to take guys that are going off early. But if you have somebody in the PM that, whether it's the shots gained metrics, whether it's the ownership, whether it's just you really want to get exposure to someone and they happen to be in the last half of tee times, don't feel like you can't play them. You can. It's just that I'm choosing not to. So we'll leave it at that. Let's hop into the player pool stuff now and start to talk some players. So let's hop up to the top. I have a lot of this blacked out on here. Of course, the whole spreadsheet is posted on my Patreon page, but a whole bunch of players that I want to talk through. So let's go ahead and just start at the top. Rory McIlroy is going to be your highest owned player. That is because, first off, he's an AMT time, and he clearly left a lot of shots out there on the golf course. He had that like 2-foot miss for par. He had a couple bunker shots where he was against the face of a bunker, and he just missed a bunch of those 5 to 10 footers that were absolutely automatic last week at the Scottish Open. So you have to imagine that a lot of people are going to play him, right? If they're playing the weather advantage, you're going to be playing a Rory McIlroy. And then Jon Rahm, right, who, let's scroll over here. Let's get the score on there. Sorry. Meant to have the whole spreadsheet available. Right, Jon Rahm there at +3 is going to be a little bit more overlooked, right? I've got him at like 12% ownership, which is it's a little bit less than half the ownership of what you've got for Rory McIlroy. So personally, I think that Jon Rahm, right, you can still play a Rory McIlroy. If you want to see whether I'm playing him or not, you're going to have to check out the Patreon page. Regardless of that, right, whether you're playing Rory or not, I think Jon Rahm is the nuts play up top, right? He's relatively low owned. He has a lot of incentive to go out there and play well. We know he's going to be aggressive because he's also not somebody that's just looking to make the cut on the number, right? He's looking to jump back into contention, right? Jon Rahm, in the nuts conditions tomorrow morning with receptive greens with some rain, that's not only just coming in the morning, but also overnight. Like right now, it's raining over there. There'll be little pockets of rain that are coming through. He's going to try and shoot 5 or 6 under par, right? He's going to really try and go after it. So it should be fun. I think that he's going to either shoot like 5, 6 under, or he's going to shoot like 5, 6 over par, right? Completely eject himself from the event. But for Showdown, that's the kind of player we're looking for, right? That's capable of going out there and making the birdies we need to get into that optimal lineup. So you can see in terms of projected points, these AM guys, or at least if you have the whole sheet up, right, and you can do some comparisons on there, right, with some of the guys that are blacked out. These AM wave golfers have boosted, right, projections compared to some of their counterparts, right? So if you're, copy and pasting these into an optimizer and whatnot, it's going to start to spit out some of these guys anyways, right, into your player pool. But just, in terms of value, I think that those are the guys we want to target anyways. So I like Jon Rahm up there. I like the ownership, and I like the fact that he's an AM wave golfer. Next up, we've got Viktor Hovland, who literally got shit on by a bird today. If you guys don't know the saying, or I guess just like the, superstition when it comes to that, if you get shit on by a bird, that is unbelievably good luck. And we're already talking about hole out Hovland, right? Somebody who I saw go out there, hole out an eagle at the US Open from 195 yards at LA Country Club. Shout out to Martin G. If he's down there in chat. I don't know if he's here in the live chat this time, but if he is, shout out to you. We saw that. And he's also a player that has hole-in-ones for Showdown all the time. It seemingly happens like once, like every month and a half, 2 months with Hovland. The guy just does it way more than other players out there. Book it right now. There's an eagle for Viktor Hovland tomorrow. He got shit on by a bird. He's going to go out there and get the big bird in DFS tomorrow. And he's going off early. He has that same aggressive attitude, or he should have that same aggressive attitude as somebody like a Jon Rahm. And he's not as far behind the 8 ball, but like -1, the leader's there at -5. Hovland's got to be in a position where he's got to be thinking to himself that if he can go out there and shoot -4 tomorrow, right, he could be the leader of this golf tournament, right? Those guys up there in the lead, a lot of them are inexperienced guys that are probably going to shoot over par. These sort of guys, I mean, even at -1, I think will be aggressive. But like Jon Rahm, right, is going to be a whole nother level of aggressive. So yeah, Jon Rahm's my favorite play for Showdown, undoubtedly. But yes, definitely like myself some Viktor Hovland too. Let's catch up on chat, see what's going on, and then get through some more of these plays that I want to go through. Where we at? Boy or girl cats? They're both girl cats, actually. One of them's a little black cat, a little bit like more athletic. The other one's a fat gray cat. That's the fat gray cat's an absolute G. Yo, what's up? that was probably the most fun you've had watching a major. I'd have to agree, Antonio. Was quite a bit of fun, right? The golf course was actually challenging. When you got out of position, you saw it, right? And there were a lot of bogeys to be made, but if you hit solid shots, it was just like the Genesis, right? They were receptive greens. You could still hit the ball relatively close. Yeah, pretty solid. Solid watch. And honestly, I hope they don't take it easy on players. Let's get to the narrative. I meant to mention this before, right? We went through the conditions like the AM wave being easier and whatnot. I have a narrative I want to go through about conditions in general. So complete tangent. I needed to remind myself to do this tangent. Okay. So let's go back to over here to data golf. I think the course is going to play easier tomorrow. So a lot of people are probably going to go, what are you talking about, Luke? Right? Pin locations today, I think, really contributed to this. I know the winds were down. I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, if it played 2 over par today, like with winds tomorrow, it's probably going to play even harder. I can almost guarantee you that the scoring average is better. They're going to take it easy on players. I already took a look at pin locations. They're not nearly as tucked as close to some of the sand bunkers. There's more back pin locations, which you might think would be a bad thing. But at this kind of link style golf course, middle to back pins are a lot easier. And just looking at the par 5 specifically, all 3 of those pins were a lot easier than what we had today. So I do think you're going to see more birdies at the par 5s. I do think that, in general, the philosophy isn't going to be as penal out there because they saw that the golf course has teeth, right? They're not, afraid of the course getting embarrassed. Like I think they might have been for today, right? With low winds and whatnot. So my narrative for tomorrow, and I don't know why I brought up data golf. I guess it was kind of relevant. I guess to bring up the scoring average, right? Is that the course is going to play easier tomorrow, even in higher winds. We've seen it before, a PGA Tour special, right? They go out there, they set up a course easier than they should. The DP World Tour does it all the time too. If they're expecting to get windier conditions, they'll compensate for that to not go out there and try to embarrass these players. The RNA runs this event, which is a completely different organization, which might be the only saving grace. I mean, the fact that it's a major, right, might also be the only saving grace that we have here. But that's why I'm kind of hesitant. And, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. That's why I'm hesitant to take a lot of fades right now, because these prop sites have started to adjust, right, for the conditions that we saw in round 1. And if I'm right about this narrative that maybe the pin locations are a little bit more forgiving, then those fades are probably not the move. So I had to get that out there. I didn't want to lose that train of thought. Carson said underdog bogey props at 2.5 and 3. Those 2.5s might be nice. So for as easy as a few pins might be, right? If you get in a pot bunker, you're still making a par at best, most likely making a bogey. So yeah, those 2.5s might be nice. What's going on, Ghost? Finally made it to the live stream. Bring on the weather for round 2. It's what it's looking like. And 25 miles an hour out there in the links is a whole nother thing. JT's 82 was the worst round of his major career. Absolute clown show for him. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. I mean, he had a rough day of it, right? The last hole he made a 9 on it, right? A +4, something like that. That's a tough scene. I'm playing him tomorrow, man. I've done it before. Like we've had guys that have gone out there. I'm trying to remember the last example. I think it was Will Gordon went out there. He shot like +12 the first round of a golf tournament. And a lot of people would say that guy's broken. He's already got the jet lined up to leave the golf course. Why would I play him for round 2 showdown? And I told you guys that these guys have egos, right? And they have heart. Most of them, right? You don't make it to the PGA Tour by being a nobody, by being a wuss, by being somebody that doesn't have mental fortitude. And so I posed the question that what if Will Gordon, right, really just tries to go out there and torch the golf course? Says, fuck it, I have nothing to lose, and takes aim at every single pin. He shot like -8 the next day. He was the nut showdown play, going off by himself, I believe. For Sunday Showdown. I believe it was a Sunday Showdown slate. JT could do that same shit. Now, it's not Sunday Showdown, right? He's not going off by himself, that kind of thing. But he's that same kind of player. I just don't see him. Maybe he gives up because it's JT. He's a rich mofo, right? Lives down there in Jupiter, has everything he could possibly want. Or maybe he's that guy that goes out there and grinds it out. We'll have to see, right? 5-1 take for tomorrow. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, if you go 5 a.m., 1 p.m., I could see it. What is your tee time cutoff? I'd say like 10:30, 11 a.m., something like that. I would say 11 a.m. seems right. Yeah, if you're asking about the cutoff time, I'd say like 11. What's up, Jimmy? What's going on, Capriccio? Gazer, that was dope. Yeah, I was trying to remember if you were there for that. I think you were, right? For that section. Yeah, you were, right? Gamble says, what do you think the cut will be? At least +3, probably +4 if I had to gamble on it. One of my favorite late players, none of them. None of them, Mark. I'm not taking any. If I had to play a late player, right, it would be somebody low owned. And there's plenty of options that are low owned in the PM wave. But if I'm going to take a flyer, I want them to have the nuts conditions. So I don't really have favorites there. Thoughts on the internal OB at 3 and 18? I think the internal OB at 3 is really making it difficult for guys to like be aggressive there. I think that if it was a part of the golf course, right, you could hit it over there to the right. The scoring average there would be at least half a stroke easier and be hitting like 60, 70-yard wedge shots, as opposed to now they're hitting 190 to 220-yard approach shots. So I love it on hole 3. 18, I think it's a little ticky-tack as you get closer to the green. I think for the tee shot, it makes quite a bit of sense, but it's a manufactured OB the closer you get to the green. So I kind of worry about 18. I love the hole number 3, though. That's a real OB, right? You got the burn going the whole way down. That rain is going to soften the course most of the day. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, too. I think that's going to help him out with scoring. That's a good point, right? Good little factor to add. The over on JT Bogey seems like a steal. Is he at 2.5? If he's at 3, Did they recently posted these because they didn't have them up before. Let's see, where's he at? Do they even have JT up? I'm just blind. Again, guys, I'm running off fumes. I don't even know why I'm tired. I've been taking like a bunch of naps, but I guess for whatever reason, I haven't taken enough naps. He's at 3.5 bogeys. If he was at 3, might like it a little bit more, but we'll leave it there. This guy says, shut up. How about you shut up and take your ban for life? Peace out, brother. Under on strokes. I'm considering it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it quite yet, though. What's up, Luke? It's Fat Pat. You're a straight shooter and here to say that you know your shit, brother. You miss your videos because of work, but you'll go back after and see how you're doing. Hey, appreciate that, Patrick. And hey, I know there are people that can't always make the live streams, but you're always just as welcome. Your comments are seen and whatnot. And glad to have you for live stream here this time, Pat. What's going on? T Swenny says, poured a nice whiskey after today. Honestly, if I wasn't tired, I'd be doing the same. What's going on? Bradley says, Master Luke. Whose short game golfers do you like for tomorrow? Short game golfers for Showdown? Maybe not my favorite. I'm more thinking that for our main slate stuff, right? When you have to outlast a golf course for 4 rounds, that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for. Not so much when it's something that you're looking at to spike, right? A 4 or 5 birdie round. So I don't know if I'm looking at short game golfers. Smash today. Love to see it. Another guy in the community just adding to the bankroll. You know, afternoon guys are going to play harder than the morning, but does that still matter for like Lowry and Tommy? Yeah, you could still probably play them. Like, that's what I'm saying, Antonio. If there are guys in the afternoon that you really want to play, then go for it. But for me, for Showdown, like there aren't any must plays for me. Like it's Showdown. It's a volatile, super random outcome sort of scenario. And I'm only playing like 25 lineups for tomorrow as opposed to the 75 to 100 that I play sometimes. So I don't have a need for those guys. Yeah, bro said shut up. Yeah, that was pretty funny, I have to say. 3.5 birdies for Rahm, Rory, and Hav seems tempting. It does, yeah. Honestly, compared to the strokes crap, like I think I'd rather take birdies because 1 out of bounds, right? I mean, you're just screwed. That could be a double or a triple. So I'm thinking about it, Nico. I don't know if I'm going to fire on it quite yet, but it's at least being considered. Let's go through a few more plays. So I like Terrell Hatton. I like Colin Morikawa. Both of them kind of spun their wheels today, right? Hatton had the hot start, was -2 through his first 5, and then ended up even par, right? +2 for the rest of his round. So not great there. He's getting some ownership, but he's an AMT time, and he played pretty well today. Colin Morikawa, same thing, just could not buy a putt. So I like the fact that they're going off early tomorrow. And by the way, this tab over here with tee times, this is their Thursday tee time, right? So I had a question about that in the Discord. Essentially what that means is if they're going off late, like 3 p.m., right, over here on Thursday, they're one of the early tee times for tomorrow, right? So that's how you can read that on there. I also got some Tony Finau exposures, super cheap once again, relatively early tee time, only 9.4% owned. And another player that really didn't hit the ball poorly today, right? Was let's check the shots gained metrics. Let me give you some actual numbers here. on a few of those guys that we actually just went through. On Data Golf, fortunately, they have all the live stats up here, so we can don't have to take a guess, right? We don't have to do it based on what we saw today. So let's just take a look at some of the top shots gained approach guys. Actually, I want to look at those players specifically. Then we'll look at some of the top like per category guys. So let's find a good old Tony Finau first. So Tony Finau, right? He gained around the green, lost putting. Okay, that's pretty on brand, right? Losing putting with Tony Finau. He gained on approach and he gained off the tee. Seems like a pretty decent stat profile, right? Doesn't seem like somebody that we're going to have to fade. Let's look at Colin Morikawa, right? He also shot +2, so he shouldn't be that hard to find. Okay, so he's down here. He gained to the putter, okay. He lost with the approach play. Uh-oh, that's a huge red flag, right? The one thing I'll say about Colin Morikawa, that's not enough to get me off of him, because if we take a look at where some of that stuff happened, right? Let's look at the approach play. Where did he lose a bunch on approach today? Was there like one hole where it was like a super negative, or am I blind? Yeah, right. Well, look at this, right? Hole number 3, he lost 1.75 strokes on approach in one single hole, right? So that probably means he had some sort of like penalty shot, maybe he hit it OB or something like that. I honestly don't know. I wasn't paying that much attention to Colin Morikawa's round. So if you take that, 1.75 shots and add it to his approach play, right, he would have been a gainer today, right? And not only that, he would have been shooting like even par, right? Maybe even like 1 under par if that weren't the case, right? If he didn't double bogey the 3rd hole, I still like him for tomorrow, right? So that, sometimes when you see these shots gained numbers, you have to look at this breakdown, and Data Golf does a really good job with it to see if that was a part of the issue, right? Was part of the reason that they went out there and had the discrepancy. I mean, that's just crazy to me. Minus 1.76 shots gained approach in a single hole. I mean, that's going to change things big time. So glad we caught that. And let's look at Victor Hovland, right, who shot -1 today. Good old BDV. So he lost with the putter and gained everywhere else. Exactly what we expected, right? That's what we saw with the eye test today. It's good that the stats bear that out too. And all of those are red, green light plays at this point. No red flags there. Let's look at some of the top approach players. Griot gained 4 strokes on approach. Holy shit. Look at number 2, Phil Mickelson, right? Almost gained 4 strokes on approach. That's super impressive. Let's see. Victor Perez gained 3 strokes on approach. Interesting. Let's see. Jordan Smith. That guy loves himself an iron. Marcel Siem, Rosner, all these value plays we got to. Olesen, Bjork. It's literally all the Euro value plays I took this week. All gained a bunch of strokes on approach in round 1. You'd love to see that. Fleetwood was pretty good, so I know we had a question about whether you could play him in the PM wave. I mean, the stat profile looked really good, so you could definitely play him for tomorrow. Who was the other guy you were considering? Let's see. Where were you at? Lowry, right? Let's see. How did Lowry play, right? I think that's a valid question with Shane Lowry. Honestly, I have no idea how he played today. Did he shoot under par? I played him this week. I should know how he played, but I definitely don't. It's definitely just a brain fart. Well, he shot 1 over par. Okay, it's not horrible. It's not great. He was under par at one point, so yeah, he finished real poorly, especially on those par 5s. He didn't birdie either of them. And in fact, bogeyed one of those par 5s. His stat profile, he lost around the green, he lost with the putter, and then he gained at the ball striking. Yeah, if you wanted to play Tommy Fleetwood or a Shane Lowry in the PM wave, that's just fine. You could do that. I'm not going to do it, but you definitely could. Reached out the quietest -1 today. Dude just lives for majors. I got to say, Antonio, he's going to smash on Sundays too. Or I guess that might be Saturdays over there, because it's round 3 of Live. He's been absolutely going off. I mean, like shooting like -7, -8 every single round. If that's going to be the case again, does that mean he's going to go off for Saturday or Sunday, right? Because they're only playing 54 holes there. I'm not sure. Do I set up cores like I do for the main slate? I don't, Sam. To be honest, I don't usually go over my exposure for a lot of these, but it's all based on ownership, right? The guys I'm playing that are higher owned, I'm taking in a higher percentage of my lineups. If you ask me, if you're over there on the Patreon page, I'm more than willing to tell you a few of the guys I'm a little bit heavier on, but I have guys that are like core plays for me, but I don't delegate them on my sheets. Is Denny McCarthy cooked, or do I think he has a chance to bounce back? Honestly, I don't even know what he shot today. What did he shoot? That's what the sheet here is for, right? He shot +5. So cut line's probably going to be +4. He's not cooked, right? He could shoot -1, make the cut, but he's going to have a damn good round. So, he's on the line, right, of being cooked. Who are your top bounce back golfers? I'm playing some Sahith Theegala. I don't think he's going to give up. I told you guys I don't expect Justin Thomas to give up. He's another guy I'm taking for a little bit of a bounce back. And towards the top of the board, John Rahm, right? I think John Rahm is going to be on a mission tomorrow. So probably those three. You need a Fox to have an amazing day. Yeah, how about that guy falling apart, right? Wasn't Ryan Fox in the lead at one point? He was like -3 leading the golf tournament and ended up +7. I mean, that's a tough scene. So yeah, hopefully he does for your sake. I mean, that was a collapse and a half. You like his chances better than Denny? Okay, he's a few strokes back, but okay. You got a feeling Victor will go low tomorrow? Absolutely. Early tee time too. Smash the like button, like the guy said. You don't want to disappoint Michael over there, right? Kyle says hammering Jazz. I'm not even trying to say the last name because he has a sick name. Look at it. This guy's last name is I think it's like Weber or something like that. Now I got to look up the name. There's a guy in the field with one of the more interesting names that you'll see. Now I got to figure it out. He's a super cheap player, so it shouldn't take that long. His name is Gunnar Wiebe, or Gunnar Wiebe is maybe how you say his name. Absolute stud. I'm just imagining that he has a mullet, right? Like Cam Smith out there. He'd have to with that kind of name. So absolute legend, I'd have to imagine. See, can I check Sharma's stats? Absolutely, I can. Honestly, I had no idea who the hell that is. I know he's shown up a few times in these open championship fields. I guess he's a DP World Tour player, but what the heck? Yeah, he gained 3 strokes approach. He gained around the green. Very balanced stat profile. That's probably really hard to back up, but it's a good stat profile, right? We've seen crazier things happen. Let's see. So any other approach guys that really stand out? I guess Brooks Stenson played well in approach. That's good to see for main slate stuff. Let's take a look at shots gained putting. So with putting, right, we don't want guys that are over putting, that are putting over their head. Harmon, Noren, Rosner, especially Rosner's a really shitty putter. He's not going to do that again. I can almost guarantee you that. Fleetwood's a streaky putter. He could probably keep that up. I guess Noren probably could too, but Brian Harmon gaining 4 strokes around, that feels unsustainable. Oki going out there gaining 3.6 strokes, that feels unsustainable. Hideki, right, gaining 2.6 strokes, that feels unsustainable. So maybe the floor is going to fall out, from under Hideki's feet there, if he's not going to go out there and gain all those strokes putting. So yeah, just check this out over there on Data Golf. It's a free tool, super useful, of course. You can look at off the tee stuff if you wanted to. I don't think it's as predictive over there on that end, but all super helpful nonetheless. Let's take a look at a few of the other DFS plays that I'm getting to, and then we'll start to talk some props. So a few other DFS plays I want to point out. Sahith Theegala, I'm taking as a just bounce back candidate with a relatively early tee time. Joaquin Niemann right there, $7,400, same thing. Just he's behind the 8 ball. I get it. But the ownership is just going to be all so low. And we know what kind of upsides Sahith and Niemann have, right? I mean, these guys are capable of shooting 7-8 under par like it's nothing. At this course, right, it's probably a 4 or 5 under par round, right? Would be that ceiling performance, but you get the idea. They're more than capable of getting there. Nick Taylor, another early tee time I'm playing at $7,000. We've got Taylor Moore on there. I think Taylor Moore is just mispriced. We've got Kita Nakajima. The guy has been on an absolute heater coming into the event. He has, I think, 2 wins in his last 5 starts internationally. And then in some big boy fields, some top 25s, some top, I believe, a couple top 20s over there on the DP World Tour this season. So he's, I think, a better player than most people think. And essentially going unowned. And a big hitter too, right? Somebody that can reach those par 5s. So maybe you can get us some points in terms of those Eagles out there. So that's in terms of player pool. Our strategy, right? For me, it's simple, right? I told you guys, I'm playing all AM golfers. So my player pool is going to be super condensed because of that, right? It makes a lot of my decisions for me. And it's usually a really good way to just lock in profit, right? You play all the guys from the AM wave, and there's going to be a stroke and a half, sometimes even a 2-stroke advantage, but you're usually going to at the very least 3 or 4x for your ROI. Now, you may not always win the GBP because usually there is that random, PM guy or two that goes off and hits the absolute nuts. But when we get these situations for DFS, for Showdown, I usually just try and lock in the good wave. So that would be my recommendation, especially if you're not 150 maxing, right? Playing a super large player pool. If you're only playing 50 to the 25 or so lineups that I'm going to be playing, I think you just play all AM guys. I think it really is that simple, and just mix in a few low-owned guys, and you're going to have yourself a slate. Let's hop over to DraftKings. We'll go through a little bit of player pool stuff, and then hop into props like I was saying before. So first off, we've got the community contest. I'm going to go ahead and throw that down in chat for you guys. That is $5 entry. It'll be there for Saturday. On there, of course, you're playing for money, but also more for bragging rights, and also to have your lineups reviewed and to talk a little bit shit down there in chat. So, of course, we'll be doing these streams for rounds 3 through 4. We'll be checking in on all of that, and of course, seeing who took down all the contests. So we'll see. Keegan, let's look at the stats on Keegan. I suppose I have he shot like -1 today. Yeah, -1. He gained with the putter, lost on approach. Can't do it with Keegan. It's got to be the other way around for me, right? He's got to be gaining on approach and losing with the putter. So I'm kind of worried about the stats. Brace face doesn't look too focused of late. Might have to do with his latest dolly bird he's hooked up with. Your words, not mine. Magus says, had a great day in Showdown. Won a bunch with your classic lineups on the other hand. Got to get work to do. Hey, you've got 4 more rounds at least, right? You've got the profit locked in for Showdown. That's good, right? That's locked in. Your main slate stuff, it's not over till it's over, right? At least see what happens in terms of your 6 of 6 rate. And hey, maybe they play better than you expect. So yeah, I think you got the right attitude though. Gooch bounce back. I could see it. What's his tee time? I think he's a PM wave. That would be the issue, right? Because he went off early today. So he's going to be a late tee time kind of player. You could take him. I just, I can't recommend that, right? Because we have that edge out there. I think you're just doing yourself a disservice. In terms of putting together lineups, right? For me, I'm just mixing and matching guys on the AM. If you're playing in cash, you 100% play all AM guys. You lock in that stroke and a half, maybe 2-stroke edge that we're going to have tomorrow, and you move on. You do not play any PM guys. If you play any PM guys and you're playing in cash tomorrow, send me heads to heads. Please send me head to heads over there on DraftKings. I am more than willing to take pretty much all the action that you want. Let's go over there to prop stuff now. If you have any questions for DFS, I'll still field them at this point. But at least want to take a look at the prop board and maybe get a slip or two in here with the stream. So let's see if there's any straggling questions. If not, we're going to start cooking up some props down here. Exactly. Absolutely. Wife already bought new shoes since she heard you won. Oh boy. You got to tell her you won half as much, right? That's the life hack out there. Thoughts on Minwoo under 72.5. He's a morning crew. So 72.5. Yeah, I was looking at some of the early morning unders right over here in Prize Picks, right, is where we have Minwoo Lee. There are even some guys at like 73 strokes that maybe they bumped a few. I feel like there were more guys here at 73 before, but Grillo shot -5 today, right? He's projected at 2 over par. I know Taylor Gooch is a PM wave golfer, but let's say conditions look a little bit easier tomorrow morning. Maybe you wake up and you play a Taylor Gooch under on strokes. I'm going to have to really deep dive these pins and figure out what we're dealing with here because, like I said, I have this sneaking suspicion that the pin locations are going to play, I don't want to say super easy, right? But significantly easier than today, right? Like maybe a half a stroke to a stroke difference compared to round 1. And let's say that the course only plays a stroke and a half over par tomorrow. That means that all of the guys are mispriced hugely, right? A stroke and a half over par is essentially the pricing that they had for round 1 is how they should be priced for round 2, if that's going to be the case. Because that's what I expected, right? And I thought the board was priced pretty fair by the end of the week. So I think that's the best way to look at it, right? Because honestly, that's what I was expecting was a 1.5 over par scoring average. I thought that the boards by the end of the week were spot on, were accurate. So if that's going to be the case for tomorrow, if the pins are going to make it slightly easier, I have to think that these unders for strokes and overs and birdies make sense. Let's see. Yeah, I'm laughing at that too. Makes me glad I don't have a wife or a significant other right now, honestly. Antonio says, Peters looked good today. Yeah, he always looks good early in a golf tournament. In terms of the stats, let's see. Yeah, he gained a bunch on approach. Yeah, that's kind of his thing. You could tail that with Peters. I could see him sustaining that. He's got that kind of guy. What's going on, Bobby? Great day today. Still can't get into the Discord. Yeah, bro. Try messaging me on Twitter. Message me on Twitter, bro. That's probably the best way to do it. The Discord kicked you. I saw on there because your Patreon disconnected. So that was automated. It kicked you because you aren't on the Patreon anymore. Antonio says, have you ever seen a top player in the world like Scotty continue to miss 3 to 4 footers? Yes. Jordan Spieth does it all the time. Will Zalatoris does it all the time. I feel like it gets talked about with Scotty because he's so good, right? A lot of players do that. Wyndham looked solid today. Do I think he could be there on Sunday, right, on the back nine? I do think he can. He's proven it to me at this point, where he won the U.S. Open, for goodness sakes. And he didn't do it all with the putter today. He was really good on approach, which I feel like we've been saying that about Wyndham for forever at this point. But he gained across the board, across all 4 categories. The kid might just be really good at golf. Yeah, I think he's pretty solid. Angle of attack on majority of pins, avoid bunker play, and the ones that aren't tucked are very attackable. That's what I was thinking, dude. I mean, I was just going through real quickly, right? I didn't do a full breakdown of every single pin, but based on what I was looking at, the par 5 specifically looked really easy. They looked like they were purposefully made easier, honestly, the par 5s. And then, yeah, a lot of like back pins, which I think for this course is the easier set of pins. Where do you find the Discord? If you message me on Patreon, I can send you a link. You still can't get into the Discord? Yeah, I think you were kicked, Mark. I think that's the reason why. If you were in there before, Mark, which I think you were, which means you were probably banned for doing something. So send me a message and I'll check into it. If you've already sent me a message and I haven't gotten back to you, it was probably because you were banned. Anthony says, Podrick and McIntyre. Let's see. Podrick, I don't think I can get there. He didn't play all that well today, right? Doesn't mean that he can't play well tomorrow, but it was the ball striking, at least from what I could tell today, that was holding him back. Let's see. Harrington, he slightly gained on approach. Okay, right? But everything else was like very average. I guess he lost a bunch around the green. I've seen worse plays than Harrington. I'll say that much, at least. And then you said McIntyre. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be lower owned now, right? Now that he had the shitty round. He lost across the board, though. So it kind of looks like he's having a hangover after last week. Bobby, I don't know what to tell you, man. Did you block me or something on there? I have no idea. Under Daily Birds' money. It was a sweat, though, Jake. I don't know if it was free or anything. Have you ever played golf with these type of bunkers? I have not, man. Am I a good bunker player? Absolutely not. I'm one of the worst bunker players you've probably seen. You sent me a message on Patreon to get the Discord. There you go. I'll send you one then. Gsluke DFS. We don't let Bobby back in. Yeah, we gotta have a intervention with Bobby. I don't think he realizes what's going on there. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and cut off the stream here at this point. I got to look at those pin locations. In terms of props, guys, if I had to give you a lean right now, because I'm not entering anything right now until I do that full deep dive, it would be unders on strokes, or it would be maybe overs on birdies. The reason why maybe overs on birdies would be a little bit safer, and I'll put those in quotes, would be because of like not having to worry about someone hitting a ball OB like Ricky Fowler did on 18, right? Hitting the ball out of bounds twice. But outside of that, right, there's probably more value on strokes, but then you run into that kind of risk. So I would stick to some elite tier guys that were hitting the ball well in round one for some strokes or some overs on birdies. I mean, that's what I'm thinking right now. So I'm going to have to take a look at the pins. If you want to know when I'm playing for round one, check out the Patreon page, and I'll catch you guys for round 3, where hopefully we're coming back from winning a bunch of money in round 2. I appreciate you guys. Best of luck there with your props in your DFS lineups, and let's get this cash.